Horacio de la Costa. Horacio de la Costa was the first Filipino provincial superior of the Society of Jesus in the Philippines and the recognized authority in Philippines and Asian culture and history. He was a brilliant writer, scholar, and historian. And now we will proceed to his early life.
Early life. Horacio de la Costa was born on Mauban, Quezon on May 9, 1960. Ordained a Jesuit priest at the age of 30, he became. And now, we will go to his educational background. Horacio first attended the public elementary school in Batangas, before moving on to the Ateneo de Manila. After earning his Bachelor of Arts degree, summa cum laude, in 1935, he entered the Society of Jesus at the Sacred Heart Novitiate in the Villages, where he completed his master's degree. De la Costa went to the Ateneo to teach philosophy and history for 2 years. During this time, he also worked as a writer in the radio talent of the Chesteron Evidence Guild, where he created the character of Teban, the Calesa driver. The program evolved into Kwentong Kuchero, consisting of satirical tales dealing mostly with life in Manila. And now, we will proceed to his life as a writer.
De la Cosa was the author of a number of books, particularly in Philippine culture and history, which revealed his nationalistic bent, which are The Jesuit in the Philippines, The Trial of Dr. Jose Rizal, Recent Oriental History, The Background of Nationalism, and other essays. Asia and the Philippines. He also contributed numerous articles on this subject to various local and foreign scholarly publications, such as Philippine Social Sciences and Humanities Review, Bulletin of the Philippine Historical Association, Hispanic American, Historical Review, Comment, Science Review, Theological Studies, and Philippine Studies. The Catholic Encyclopedia carries article on the Philippines.
In 1965, the Philippine President Diosdado Macapagal presented De la Costa on the Public Heritage Award for his historical writings. In 1971, he became General Assistant to the Superior General for the Society of Jesus, Pedro Arupe, in Rome. He was one of the members who founded the Philippine Academy of Sciences and Humanities, as well as the International Association of Historians of Asia. He was also a member of the National Research Council of the Philippines, Philippine Bibliographical Society, the Philippine Historical Association of the National Historical Society, of the National Historical Commission.
And now, we will now proceed to his award and recognition. In 1946, De la Cosa was awarded the Medal of Freedom by the U.S. government. In 1951, he received his doctoral degree in history from Harvard University. In 1969, he was the first Filipino Jesuit provincial superior in the Philippines.
And now, we will proceed for his sample works. He wrote the Selected Studies in Philippine Colonial History, which is a study about the colonization in the Philippines. And one of his sample works was entitled The Jesuits in the Philippines. This fascinating story of cross and sword, laid in an extraordinary setting, describes the role of the Jesuits in the Philippines. Their history as missionaries, educators, and colonizers cannot be discussed without the other. Accordingly, documents in the Roman, Spanish, and Philippines archived of the order, as well as those of the General Colonial Archives of Madrid and Seville, have been colorfully employed to present a wide segment of the general history of the Spanish Empire in the Philippines, the Far East. And now we will now proceed to the death of Horacio de la Costa. De la Costa died in March 20, 1977, at the age of 60 due to cancer. He was buried in the Jesuit Novitiate compound in the Novaliches, Quezon City.
And now, after Horacio de la Costa, we may now proceed to Andres Bonifacio. Andres Bonifacio was a Filipino revolutionary leader and the president of the Tagalog Republic. He is often called the father of Philippine Revolution. And now, we may now proceed to education and early life. Andres learned the alphabet in the age of 10 through his mother's sister. He was enrolled in Guillermo Osmeña's private school where he learned Latin and mathematics. At the age of 14, he dropped out to support his siblings after the death of their parents due to illnesses 1 year apart. Bonifacio was blessed with good hands in craftsmanship and visual arts that he made canes and paper fans, which he and his young siblings sold. He also made paid posters for business films. This became their thriving family business that continued. The men of the family were employed with private and government companies, which also provided them with decent living conditions. In his late teens, he worked as a mandatorio for the British trading firm Fleming and Company, where he rose to become a corregidor of tar, rattan and other goods. He later transferred to Fresel and Company, a German trading firm, where he worked as a bodeguero, where he is responsible for warehouse inventory. Bonifacio enriched his natural intelligence with self-education. He reads books about French Revolution, biographies of the presidents of the United States, books about contemporary Philippine penal and civil codes, and novels such as Victor Hugo's Les Miserables and Jose Rizal's No Limitangere and El Filibusterismo. Aside from Spanish and Tagalog, he could also speak and understand English. We may now proceed to his marriage life. Monica was the first wife of Andres Bonifacio, where she is a neighbor back in Tondo. However, Monica died due to leprosy. In 1892, Bonifacio met Gregoria de Jesus through his friend Teodoro Plata, who was her cousin. At first, Gregoria's parents disagreed to their relationship because Andres was a Freemason. Eventually, Gregoria's parents gave in and Andres and Gregoria were married in Binondo Church in March 1893. They had one son born in 1896. Unfortunately, he died in smallpox in infancy. And now, we may proceed to his life as a writer. During the era of the Spaniards, Andres Bonifacio wrote prose about how Filipinos were tortured by the Spaniards. Bonifacio was one of the greatest motivational writers and speakers in his generation. In 1892, he is one of the founding members of Jose Rizal's La Liga Filipina, an organization for political reforms in Spain's colonial government in the Philippines. However, the organization was disbanded because Rizal was arrested and deported into Dapitan. Later on, Bonifacio founded the Katipunan, or the kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. This secret society aims for freedom from Spain through armed revolt. And now, we may proceed to his achievements. Bonifacio was one of the key figures of the Philippine Revolution. He was the head of the organization called Katipunan. Bonifacio was important because of his tactical skills. Today, he is remembered as a national hero and some historians see him as the first president due to his role in revolutionary government. And now, we will now proceed to his works. One of his first works, Tapunan ng Lingap, Ang Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Lupa, Katapusang Hibik ng Pilipinas, Ang Mga Kasadores, and the Decalogue. And now, we may now proceed to the death of Andres Bonifacio. In April 1897, Aguinaldo ordered to arrest Bonifacio after receiving a letter claiming that Bonifacio burned down a village and ordered the burning of the church after townspeople refused him to give him provisions. Aguinaldo's men attacked Bonifacio's camp, and Andres Bonifacio were surprised and refused to fight against his fellow Filipinos. He ordered his men to hold their fire, but the shots alternatively exchanged. Bonifacio was shot in the arm and he was arrested along with his brother Procopio. Andres and Procopio stood trial on charges where he was found guilty despite insufficient evidences and recommended to be executed. In May 10, 1897, the Bonifacio brothers were executed in the mountains of Maragondon. And that's all for our video. Thank you for watching and listening. Take care.